Welcome to the Hair of the Dog podcast. I'm Nicole Begley, and today we're diving into business pillar number 3. Now, if you've been listening to the podcast for the past couple weeks, we started off with episode number 79 with the business pillar 1, legal and admin. Business pillar number 2 was in episode 81, which is branding. And today we're doing our virtual storefront, all about the website. This is a can't miss episode, whether you're new in business, getting started with your business, or have been in business for years. Our website is an absolutely critical piece of our business, and we're going through our checklist to make sure that you can do your website audit right here on the podcast. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Hair of the Dog podcast. If you're a pet photographer ready to make more money and start living a life by your design, you've come to the right place. And now, your host, pet photographer, travel addict, chocolate martini connoisseur, Nicole Begley.
Welcome back to the Hair of the Dog podcast, everybody. I'm Nicole Begley, and I am so excited that you're joining me yet again for another one of our business pillar series. Today is business pillar number 3. We're talking all about the website. Now, if you're driving, you're out walking the dog, and you want to download this checklist, just head on over to hairofthedogacademy.com/83. Just www.hairofthedogacademy.com/8 and 3, and you will be able to download this website audit checklist that we are going to go through. Now, our websites, you guys, are absolutely critical. And this is one of the most important pieces of our business, whether you're building your business, you've been in business for a little bit or years, it doesn't matter. The website is our main storefront. It is where every single client goes before they're going to work with us. Even if they are a client that was referred to us, they are still going to want to go check out our website before they decide to work with us. So it is absolutely critical that we have this website looking good and ready for people to join us or work with us. All right. So what does that actually look like with our websites? Well, we're going to be running down a list of things that we need to keep in mind. And we're going to start with that homepage, and starting with that homepage of above the fold. Now, that above the fold means it's back from newspaper days when you'd have a newspaper out and it's folded in half. Above the fold is what you see on the paper when it's just sitting there on the newsstand. So how that relates to a website is when you first open your website, that is what's considered above the fold, or before the scroll, I guess it should be now. But what we want to make sure that above the fold, that it's really, really easy, that a caveman can tell what we do and who we serve. And if they can't, that's a problem, because people's attention spans are shorter than a goldfish. I mean, that's just sad. So we need to make sure that we are giving everybody the, quick and easy way for them to know what we do and who we serve. And that includes our location. As a pet photographer, we are a local service-based business. So if I'm in North Carolina, I'm not usually going to be serving clients in Georgia or Florida or North Dakota. So it's important to have above the fold what you do, who you serve, and what location you serve if you are a location-based business like most of us are as photographers. This is just absolutely critical. And this brings me to another point that we need to make sure that we have on our website, and that is making sure that our location is available everywhere. You guys, I don't know how many photographers' websites I go to, and I don't know where they're located. And guess what? If people can't figure out where you're located, they're not going to contact you, because the world's a pretty big place and they're going to assume you're not near them. So make sure that you have your location above the fold on that homepage, and also on every single other page of your website. The easiest way to do that is to incorporate your location into your footer. And then I would also make sure that that location is on your contact page so people can see that there as well. So really 3 locations on your website for your location: above the fold on your homepage, on your contact form page, and then throw it down there in the footer so that it's really on every single page. So important. All right, another really important thing that I see a lot of people struggle with is having an easy to find contact button on every page. Nicole, do I really need one on every page? Yes. Yes, you do. And the easiest way to do that is to put that up there in the navigation menu. Ideally, top right of that navigation and that top right corner of your website is prime website real estate. Make that button a different color and have a call to action of contact me, learn more, book a session, whatever you want that contact to be. Now, with the booking a session, if it just says book a session up there, I don't know that I would open that up to like my session booking form. I would actually have that book a session call to action go to another page on my website, to a contact page that has a place for them to say, hey, thanks so much for wanting to work with me or for wanting to learn more about working with me. And here's, if you're ready to book your session, click here. And it's just a little button or link that will take them to the actual booking form. And then you also have on there, if you'd like to learn more about an experience or you have any questions about how we can work together to photograph your dog, please use the contact form below and I will get back to you as soon as possible. So that way they have an easy place to reach out for questions. And I would make sure on that contact form that I have the actual form, that I have my email, that I have my phone number. You guys, not many people are going to call you on that phone number, but those that do, if you answer the phone or at the very least call them back pretty quickly, 9 times out of 10, they're going to book with you because nobody else calls them back. So I know you hate the phone, but it's a pretty easy way to secure some clients because guess what? Some clients still want to use the phone. So don't be afraid of it and let people call you. If you don't want to give them your personal number, grab a Google Voice number or one of those other voice over internet, extra phone numbers that really just runs through your main phone. So that way, it's a business call and you can make sure to always answer that line. Hopefully it takes a while for the bots to find your business number and start with all the spam calls. But anyway, I digress. All right, we're moving back to our checklist of our website. Number 4 is your navigation easy to use? That's important. I remember at one point, the place that I worked, we redid our website, and instead of having a straight across navigation bar, it was like the swooshy thing. And it was one of the earlier times that websites started to have like swooshy graphics and things like that, except to open up a link, you had to have your cursor follow the swooshy because you couldn't just run it across because it was drop-down menus. And if the cursor went off the navigation bar, then the menus would jump back up. And so it was just really pretty frustrating user experience. So make sure that your navigation is easy to use. And as well, the other half of that is to make sure that people know what to click on. Don't get too cute with your navigation terms. Keep them basic, keep them simple, so people can find what they're looking for on your website. All right, next, is there white space on your website? You guys, it's so important. We stare at screens all the time. And if you're coming to your website and it's really, really dark and it's like light font on dark, it's hard to read. If there's a little section or two, that's cool. But, you just want some white space because it's easier for our eyes. It's easier for us to look at the page. And that also goes with your text. You want the text to be scannable and you want it to be just easy for people to go down the website and just kind of pick out the headers. Really, your headers are what is going to kind of tell the story, and the people that want to read more about that section can then read under that header. But most of the time, people are not going to read every bit of word on your website. So make sure that it is scannable, that it is easy to read, that you have that white space, and use those headers as kind of an outline essentially for your content so that people can still get an idea of what it's like to work with you or the value of working with you without, having to read a novel. I'm guilty of this, you guys. I get a little wordy. So, and I feel like, I need to give them all the information. And it's not always the best practice. So if you're a little wordy like me, maybe ask somebody that's not as wordy, a little bit more succinct, to go ahead and take a look at that and help you cut it down. If you're an Academy member, you can also ask us at an office hours or a laser coaching, or if you're an Elevate member, we are happy to give you a website review. So just make sure that you ask for some help. All right, that's it for our text. Let's move on to our portfolio. Is your portfolio only the best of the best, you guys? Your portfolio is only as strong as your weakest image. Weakest one. So I would rather see you have a portfolio of 5 to 7 images that are awesome, unique, different animals, different subjects, and, just a little bit of a variation in them that are standout, great, amazing images, rather than a portfolio of 20 images that have 5 to 7 awesome images in there, but the others are like, meh, they're okay, they're good, they're not bad. But as soon as you start putting in or leaving in those okay ones, then your whole portfolio and the whole experience of the client kind of defaults to that lowest level image. So really, really important to look at your portfolio and really curate only the best of the best, and also curate a similar style. Make sure that your images in your portfolio, put them all up on your computer at once in Lightroom or Bridge or some way that you can open all the files and look at them on your screen at once. And just make sure they're pretty cohesive. They don't have to be exactly the same or the same exact color palette. You just want to make sure that it's not like, oh, everything's in color, and then I have the sepia one over here. That one doesn't really go. Or, man, everything is backlit, and then I have this one that's just in shadows, or something like that. Just to make sure that as a whole group, your portfolio looks cohesive and you are making sure you're only putting the best of the best in there. All right. Next up, music. Do you have music on your site? Does it automatically play? If so, please change it right now. Pause this podcast, go and update that, because you are losing people. Because guess what? People are checking out your website on their phone. People are checking out your website while they're working. And if all of a sudden music starts blaring through while they're supposed to be doing, a TPS report, well, they're going to click away from that website and never come back. So make sure that you don't have music on there. If you do have music or videos, make sure that it's a click to play and not an autoplay. So that those videos are the same as that music. Make sure they select when to make it play, or if it starts muted, and then they can select to turn the muting on or turn the muting off. All right, next up, this goes back to our copy for our website, but are you addressing objections? So most objections in the dog photography space stem from my dog won't behave. Can't even tell you guys, I'd be retired if I had a nickel for every time I heard, man, I would love to do that. My dog won't do that. No, your dog will, because I have tricks. But everybody thinks that their dog won't do it. And the other big objection is if their dog needs to be on a leash, they also assume that they can't get those beautiful images because their dog has to stay on a leash. And who wants an image with a leash hanging out of it? So those are the two main objections that we need to make sure we're addressing all over our website, because if those objections aren't addressed, the people aren't even going to inquire. They aren't even going to ask any questions, because they have already told themselves that they can't partake in this because of those things. So we should be addressing those objections on social media, on our website, in emails, talking to people on the street, taking out billboards, taking a Super Bowl commercial, whatever it takes. We need to be addressing those objections wherever we can. All right, next up, back to a little bit of the techie things of website. What's your website load time? Now, there are a couple different locations or websites that you can test out that. There's something called Uptrends that I've used. It's pretty easy, UPTRENDS. It's a pretty easy way to just check out your load time. Now, some of the culprits of slow load times are often large images. You guys, we're photographers. We have a lot of beautiful images all over our sites. That causes our site to load a little bit more slowly. So we need to make sure those are really well optimized and just really tiny web files. Photoshop has that save as web. There's different plugins that can help to compress your images and they'll still look good. So things like that. Make sure you're looking at the size of your images you're uploading. Another culprit, speaking of plugins, is too many plugins. Now, I'm not saying plugins are bad, but if you're on WordPress, you know that it's pretty easy to bloat up our site with a whole bunch of different plugins. So if you have a whole bunch of them, it can cause your website to slow down. All right, up next is your website mobile responsive? You guys, I don't know the stats, but it's something like 532% of website traffic is on mobile now. Okay, that might be overestimating, but it's a lot. It's definitely the majority. And if you go to your Google Analytics, you can see where people or what device people are viewing your website on. And I guarantee you that a lot of it is mobile because we're just on our phones. And if it's not a phone, it's a tablet. So a lot of times, very rarely actually, are people looking at our website on, all of its glory on this beautiful desktop. Even a laptop's a little bit smaller of a screen. So what does your website look like on those mobile devices? And is it mobile responsive? Meaning, will it adjust itself for mobile? Because if it doesn't, you will get red flagged from Google. Google is not playing anymore if your website does not adjust for mobile responsiveness. So most new themes, most new websites do, but if you've built a website like 5 or 6 or 7 years ago and have never updated it, it's possible that it doesn't. So make sure that it looks good on mobile and it is responsive. Next up is, do you have a self-hosted domain? This just means that they go to www.nicolebegleyphotography.com instead of wix.nicolebegleyphotography.com. Having that self-hosted domain is really, really important to be seen as a legitimate professional. I'm not going to shop at wix.target.com because, well, Target should have their own website, right? So same thing for us. If we are positioning ourselves as a boutique brand, creating beautiful custom artwork, we should have our own website. Now, having a self-hosted domain is not that expensive. You can purchase the domain name for usually under $15. And then you also would need hosting. So if you're on something like Squarespace, that's included. If you're on WordPress, you would need to pay separately for hosting. Usually ends up being about $100 to $200 a year, depending on what hosting plans you go with. Along those lines, do you have a domain-based email? You guys, this is just as critical, if not even more so, than having a domain-based website. I don't want to spend $2,000 getting beautiful artwork from somebody that has a Gmail address. It just feels more professional, put together, to have that. Now, you guys, if you're all just starting and you're like, oh my gosh, Nicole, I'm just working on getting my website up, that's fine. That's fine. Do one thing at a time. But these are definitely things that we should be working towards, and put it on your list to do when you can. I use G Suite. It was super easy to set up. It's like $5 a month. You can reroute email from your domain email, because usually when you sign up for a domain or for hosting, it includes some email at that domain. So it includes like Nicole and NicoleBegley.com. But you can set up for free sometimes to forward that to a Gmail address. Requires a little bit more tech, probably requires a couple calls to support, but signing up for G Suite was much easier. And I have a Gmail account, but basically I think I have like 47,000 emails and all of them go to the same place. So it just makes life easier, and G Suite's really, really easy and user-friendly if you're looking for a domain-based email. All right, next up, we are going back over to our website, and I have a question for you. Do you have your face on your About page? Not your face behind a camera, not your dog's face. Your face. Your face needs to be on your About page, because people are hiring you. You guys, we are a boutique business. We are really a personal brand. So people will connect with us and want to hire us because people do business with people they know, like, and trust. So get yourself a picture with your face up on your website. If you don't have one, why don't you, and you're an Academy member, why don't you go ahead and look at our Academy member directory, find another pet photographer in your market and say, hey, you want to get together and then we can swap headshots of each other? Yeah, perfect. Great. So easy, free ways to do those kinds of things. Just reach out to a photographer friend and offer to return the favor. All right, next up, do you showcase product images on your site? Not just images of dogs. You guys, what are we selling? We're selling artwork. What causes people to buy artwork? Oh, the emotional connection with that artwork and with their animal. So showing beautiful pictures is great, but if we're showing the artwork that we want and the products we want to sell throughout the process on the website, the clients are coming to our website and they immediately know what they want to do with their images, because usually they contact us and it's like, how would you like to display their images? I'm not really sure, because they just see images that they'd like. So by showing them these products, then they, can picture it more. They know what the process involves a little bit more, and it's a lot easier for us to talk about the value of what we do. Now, where can you get some of those product images? There's a ton of them on Creative Market. There is a website called Canvy, canvy.com. And then there's just other Photoshop files and things that you can purchase as well. So there's a ton of different stuff in there. If you're looking for something specific, definitely check out Creative Market. They have a ton. But you can also always post in the Hair of the Dog podcast community or the member group if you're a Hair of the Dog Academy member. And the podcast community, if you guys are listening to this and you're not part of our big free podcast community, that is just at hairofthedogacademy.com/FB group. We would love to have you join us. All right, next up, we're keep on going back to that website. Down the list, is your blog dated? All right, we know that there's power in blogging, and I'm pretty sure 97.99% of you have intentions to blog, but then don't really do it regularly. I get it. I was guilty of that for many years myself. But what happens when your client comes to your website and clicks around, and usually the ones that are really interested are the ones clicking around more. So they might end up at your blog and they see the last blog post was 2.5 years ago. Oh, wow, I wonder if she's still in business. Oh, maybe she's not working anymore. Oh, I wonder why she's not working anymore. Maybe she's not really very good. And then it just goes down in this whole thing of, reasons basically for them to talk themselves out of working with you. So should you not blog? No. I'm not saying that. Still continue to blog, but maybe just take the date off your blog posts. So it's just a post. So that way you don't have dates associated with them. So that's a quick and easy fix. All right, next up, back to that contact form we talked about at the very beginning. This is simple. Just ask for the basics, because somebody to raise their hand and say, hey, I want some more information, that's a big ask. And that's really a big move. It's a big, bold first date move. But if you're asking them for, hey, what's your dog's name? Hey, what's your address? What's your birth month? What's your favorite ice cream? What time do you get up in the morning? Oh, wait, where do you live? All those different things, and be like, oh my God, it's too much. It's too much. We don't want to propose on our first date. So we want our contact form to be really simple. Name, email, phone number. You can ask, how do you prefer that I contact you back? And then how can I help you? That's it. It's all we want. Keep it simple. And then if you need more forms for people that are actually booking, have a separate booking form with more details like addresses and whatnot. All right. Next up, privacy policies. Do you have a privacy policy on your site? This is not sexy. It's not exciting, but it is a requirement in the 2021 world, because anytime you're collecting personal information from your website visitors, you need to have a privacy policy posted. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but thankfully I've actually partnered with one to help us with some legal things at Hair of the Dog, and that is Rachel Brunke. She's the LawTog. If you are not familiar with Rachel, just go to thelawtog.com and you can check that out there. She has a privacy policy available there. And also, you get a special discount as a Hair of the Dog member. Just use the code HAIROFDOG10. Woo! So that's it. That's your website audit. Right here on the podcast. Don't forget to go to www.hairofthedogacademy.com/83 if you want to download your checklist so that you don't have to furiously take notes from that. And also don't forget to have checked out episodes 79 and 81 for the legal and admin and branding checklists. And then the last 3 of our pillars that are coming up in the next 3 weeks are pricing and sales, my personal favorite, workflow, and marketing will round us out at the end of July. So I hope you have enjoyed this. If you are looking for additional assistance in building your business, growing your business, getting to the point where you can create clients on demand, wouldn't you please consider joining us inside our Elevate program? We are opening our Elevate program for applications on Thursday, July 8th, 2021. And our application period will be open for 1 week till July 15th. It's a great program that helps support you through these processes. And just head on over to www.hairofthedogacademy.com/elevate to get yourself on the wait list. And we will send you all of the new details on Thursday so you can check it out. We've had students with just incredible success building their business to the point of quitting their corporate jobs, learning how to make more money from the just by tweaking some different pricing things, learning how to market not out of reactively, but actually plan marketing and plan ways to connect with people in their market that turn into more consistent clients. So anyway, we would love to support you in that program. Just go ahead over to hairofthedogacademy.com/elevate to check it out. And in the meantime, enjoy your website audit, and I will see you next week for business pillar number 4, pricing and sales. If you enjoyed this podcast episode, go ahead and take a screenshot of this episode on your phone and post it up there on your Instagram stories, and be sure to tag us at Hair of the Dog Academy. And we would just love to see how you're listening. And full disclosure, sometimes we just like to give away a little pet photographer swag in the form of Hair of the Dog t-shirts and sweatshirts. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead and share that screenshot of this episode, and don't forget to tag us at Hair of the Dog Academy. And while you're there, maybe you want to jump on over to our account and see what we're up to on the gram. Would love to connect with you. Thanks for listening to the Hair of the Dog podcast. If you want to check out the show notes for access to any of the links that we shared in this episode, as well as any additional related resources, simply go to www.hairofthedogacademy.com/83. Once again, that's www.hairofthedogacademy.com/8 and the number 3.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Hair of the Dog podcast. If you enjoyed this show, please take a minute to leave a review. And while you're there, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss our upcoming episodes. One last thing, if you are ready to dive into more resources, head over to our website at www.hairofthedogacademy.com. Thanks for being a part of this pet photography community.